Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome to a first look at the demo for the upcoming release of Private Military Manager Tactical Auto Battler. This is from 5 Minute Labs. I'm excited to give this one a shot because if you've followed the channel, you would know that there's two genres that I delve into primarily, and one is sports management simulators, the other being strategy games. This is a blend of the two, so I'm excited to give this a shot. Now, the game offers a pretty extensive introductory video, but I'm going to go ahead and skip past it because, well, it's really extensive. Maybe a little too long. They probably need to shorten that up a little bit. But as we get into the game itself is an auto battler, so I am not managing firsthand our tactical team. But that tactical team is going to head in on their own. Now, as this one plays out, and you can see that our team is already struggling as our point man, David, is on the verge of going down and zones. We are in a practice arena right now. And the premise for this game is we are in at least partly South America, and I believe, as they don't give real names, it looks like, I'm surprised we lost our second man as well when there's only a couple guys in this zone. Anyway, the American government is trying to assert some authority here in the early 90s over the drug cartels of regions such as Colombia, as an example, and that influence is happening under the table, right? Not direct, it's not happening firsthand, it's very much in an indirect, secret way of forming a localized private military organization that is kind of fronted or supported by the CIA secretively, and you're trying to use locals to train up to take down the baddies within the region. But we are set to take over this local military group, and in doing so, they are struggling. They are on the verge of bankruptcy, and so we essentially have to start from scratch to build them up. So we have a handful of militiamen that we're going to train up and develop, look to hire more. We are going to have facilities and research to do to be able to do more within the constraints of the game, and we have to manage their daily routines as for training and rest and morale and everything that they're going to need to be an effective fighting force. So the first mission and the demo mission is 3 weeks to train and prepare and practice, where we already have some intel based on that run through we just saw. That is the practice for the mission that will resemble the layout of the practice zone that we just took. For now, our trust in our leadership is at a 50. Right now we have 4 of 6 operators that we can manage in total, and we have $4 grand to work with. Right now, we are set to lose $40 a day, as each employee is earning $10 a day. Ooh, big money. But our estimated weekly income, we have $2,000 coming in, plus our overall operator's salary of $800 means we're going to make a profit of $1,200 per week. There are additional ways to make money, and I've already learned from playing through this a little bit ahead of time to get used to the mechanics, that those alternative money-making sources, at least early on when you have too small of an operating team, is just a death sentence for your group. It's going to make you fail in your objectives. But our early objectives, speaking of, we have to clear inspection, meaning at the end of each week, we're going to get a trial run, similar to what we just ran. And if we fail, if we don't get at least one guy to kill all the insurgents, then we fail that objective. Our trust is going to drop, and we're going to be in some pretty big trouble. But we've got to train up our group for an average rating of 17. Right now, their average rating is 15.5 for the 4 guys that we have. We need to maintain a positive balance. That is our primary objectives. But we also have bonus objectives, where at least half of the group survives the inspection. We saw one guy just barely make it out of that practice run. Have a maximum of 5 employees, so even though we can have 6, they want us to only add 1 to the group. And then they also want us to maintain half of the finances that we have currently. They don't want us to spend everything we've got. But that brings us into the real nuts and bolts of this game, and that is developing your group, which of course are vulnerable to death in this one when you go do the real thing. In practice, they're not going to die. They're using rubber bullets, they're using paint, whatever the case may be. It's simulated until you get to the real thing at the end of the 3 weeks. Ideally, at that point, you'd prefer to keep your whole team alive, not having 3 dead and 1 guy on on the verge of death themselves. But laying things out real quickly for you, each operator has a current level and what tier they are. So the lower the number, the higher the tier, the higher quality that they are. But collectively, you have a number of different roles that they can play and their progress on leveling up, and each of them has traits that can contribute towards their development, towards their daily inputs, how they handle things, how they deal with certain situations, how they react to those situations. You have your total rating, which is a combination of their base rating plus the modifier of the gear that they have, both offensive and defensive gear. And then they have 5 basic attributes: their physical, shooting, tactical, perception, and mental attributes. And then the other modifiers of their stamina, their mood, susceptibility to injuries, that's probability wise, and the trouble that they could cause. There could be positives as well that comes out of this, and then the daily cash for training them. And then, much like those management sims that I love to get involved in, we have a daily schedule. We can use presets, but we can also adapt this on a daily basis, and this is the key really to being successful within this one, because right now a generic, basic, simple schedule will give this type of daily output and this type of daily impact that we'll see for the moment with the generic schedule, just a tiny little daily gain for each of our 4 squad members. But tweaking that daily schedule is the key to more rapid growth, but also maintaining the other areas such as preventing injury, not having trouble. You want to keep these numbers positive for sure. For the moment, the Physical Fitness Center is all that we have to work with, and the barracks is very important for free time so that you don't take the injuries, so that you prevent that trouble. But one of the things that I really like to do early on, because I found I did have some trouble with this previously, is having the increased stamina prevents injuries, and so I'd like to actually commit a little bit. We can train hard early in the day, but extra time to relax will bring that stamina up quickly, and then that by itself does a lot to prevent injury. So it's a good idea to get ahead on stamina and mood where you can. Picking how you grow and develop, having a research tree is really important in a lot of games, and I'm definitely a fan of them. And we're going to open our first management support team, which is going to open a policy slot and just kind of get things going.
Yeah.
But here's that tricky part. As you carry out with the schedules, these events pop up. They can be positive, they can be negative. Luckily, everybody's got a +5 to mood to this first event. And part of being a boss is to be relatable, and so we're going to work on the relationship. It's going to cost me $800. That's expensive early on, as we have very limited fundings, but this gets a big head start. Everybody's now got a positive stamina where their injury chance has already dropped by 10%. We also got that mood boost where everybody gained 5, so this puts us into a united front and gives us, good mood. Discipline's okay, and we're already seeing a little bit of development, gaining +0.2 overall, despite the fact that we gave away one of our training sessions to pick up that stamina in this first week. Moving into our second day, we want to unlock the shooting range, so we will conduct research on that. You can only conduct one research at a time, but this will only take a day. I found in my first trial run that the most important aspects in selecting the team members is a combination of potential, so that they can actually get good eventually, because none of them are good now. 13.2 is not good, even though, yes, it's better than an 8.0. The key is this guy's not going anywhere. This guy could. He could be pretty decent. But the other massive important fact is all the modifiers, the traits that they carry. This is somebody who is suicidal, or they're going to gain experience more slowly, but their salary and signing bonuses are less, so they're cheaper. That's kind of important early on, but they have a scholarly passion, meaning their tactical growth is 50% faster. And so we're going to sign him up for $800 for the signing bonus. They gave us $1,000, so we still have $3,300. So the 4 guys they have given us in the existing squad, we're going to have to replace one of them. And Janten's the guy I'm going to go for. He's cynical, has a lower current ability and low potential comparatively with these other guys. And so adding to the squad is the new man, Nicholas, who's only just a hair lower in terms of rating. And we're going to equip him with a shotgun. The others open with an AK. And here is one of the important aspects of the game on what you control is, as the battle plan, you organize how they're going to go through area by area, and whether they're going to breach, whether they're going to use extra weapons, whether they have authorization to do those things, what sort of tactic they're going to go section by section as they make their way through. We're not going to watch the entirety of this playthrough, as it's a reset on what we just did, but as we've cleared the first zone, as we head into the next zone, Nicholas, the new man that we just hired, is now going to breach here, coming in with some intensity. We're not going to just walk in. And they're going to do much better this time around. And in the after report, you can see that it is the new breacher with that shotgun who did the most kills, even though his individual damage was not as much. But a big part of it was the damage he inflicted on that breach. That certainly helped. That second area had the most enemies, so coming in a little bit stronger through there. One of our guys didn't even take damage this time. So one thing that I've definitely picked up on is don't be cookie cutter, don't be generic. Get the maximum that you can out of it. Things like getting the stamina and the mood up are really important, but also taking advantage of what you're given. In this case, we've had an event in that first day that's allowed for growth enthusiasm, as in mental. So we have a 100% boost to mental growth for the next 4 days. That's global, so it impacts everyone. And so I have altered our training while I'm still working on increasing the stamina for at least one more day here. Instead of training the aerobic or powerlifting, which was set, you have kind of the less intense version or the more intense version. The more intense version having that injury increase opportunity. But because we are resting twice, we can afford to be more aggressive with our one session. But instead of doing that, I'm going for that long distance running or parkour, which has more of a mental boost for us. And we're getting a significantly higher jump than we would normally, bringing it up to anywhere from 1 1/3 to 1.6 for one of these guys. That's a massive mental improvement for them. What the mental improvement does, apparently, is damage reduction, bulletproof damage reduction, so it means we're going to take less damage as we go along. So all the attributes do something to help us out. For perception, it's evasion and accuracy. For tactics, it's a reload time multiplier, but also actually learning specific tactics. They don't have to reload that often, though, so training up tactics right now is not necessarily important. But I would imagine once we are utilizing tactics, I would imagine it also is a modifier on how effective they are at running those tactics. And in my trial run, I practiced with a tactic, and it made them worse. So I would imagine that, yes, there's absolutely a modifier, because, you get guys like Jan that have a 5. But shooting, additional damage, but also recoil control, which of course is going to keep you accurate after the first round is fired, as opposed to woo, spray and pray. And then for the physical, it's health and move speed, both of which are going to be really important. So yes, we want to train physical, and see these guys have a little bit higher base rating there than they do in other departments. The next phase of the tutorial adds grenades and other supplemental weapons or support items. So again, as we try to tackle that most difficult zone, 6 is kind of difficult too, but as you try to tackle that second zone, we're going to allow David to use the grenade in that specific area as part of the plan. So here is that breaching charge. It stuns everybody and does some damage. We throw the grenade, and we get through that zone with, I don't know, they fired at us like twice. The training for this next week, of course, I'm still using the growth enthusiasm, that mental modifier, and you can see massive gains. Now, the reason why we're getting those massive gains is we're now pushing away from doubling up on stamina, getting the increase there, and getting 2 training sessions. Still in physical, so that we can get the mental boost, and in this case, rapid, very, very rapid gains. But with the grenade tutorial event, we now find ourselves with the possibility of getting into the market, where, at least until you have plenty of cash, I think it's really important to pay attention to discounts. Discounts become really important through this phase. We can get 50% off for a flak jacket, which keeps him alive longer through the fights. You put it on your point man, keeps him alive significantly longer. Yeah, we're definitely going to purchase the flak jacket. Getting your stamina to really high does decrease the injury chance even further, allowing you to train harder, which is that whole purpose of building these things up. The stamina and the mood have kick-on effects that are really important. We still have 2 days left on this mental growth modifier, and we do have our first guy approaching his maximum. David, for all the advantages that he carries right now comparatively to everybody else, he is much more limited in potential. And for the moment, we're looking really good on all of the objectives. Now the key thing, clear inspection. First objective is to not die. Second objective is to get half of the team through this practice run. Decent start there, but David does take a hit, and already that's the flak jacket with the blue. should have been at about half of his health marker comparatively. Now all of a sudden it's just under a quarter. So it's getting stunned, and it's going to impact on these guys, and there we go. We get through that second zone with David's lost the flak jacket. Nicholas has taken one minor scratch, but otherwise the he's looking really good through for 3 phases. We have 3 more to go. Only 2 members in this head on. David gets a little scratch on that one, but we're looking pretty okay. That is kind of the mission right there. But get out in one piece. That's a tougher zone. Those guys have some range and are pointed straight at you as you come through, and we have limited cover, but David just getting another scratch into the final zone. More enemies, more wide open. This is kind of the hardest area besides zone number 2. We look strong, and we will get out of here with all 4 members passing the test. Alright, so we succeed, and we got half the members through, so we're going to get all those objectives and bonuses. The inspection, 50% survived, and so trust is increased by 25 up to a 70 now. They're in the happy zone. And that brings us into week 2, where we continue development, and they're going to make it a little bit tougher on us. So 1 enemy has been added, and 9 enemies have become more powerful, so the test is going to be a little bit harder as we go forward. And in our weekly report, there's new available mercs for hire on the market. The shop has also been refreshed. Well, with the massive hit to the mood for Janton, I'm going to try something I haven't used yet, which is to talk to him, talk to 1 per day. We can discuss his mood. And we're going to send him on vacation, getting him out of the way for 3 days. I don't need him to develop. He's not part of the squad anyway for the upcoming fight. We can get him a 3-day vacation where he's going to gain 15 mood each of the 3 days, giving him plus 45 to mood. And with him on vacation, he can't cause problems. With Janton on vacation, we finally have no negative events, and Janton and David both back from their vacations. David picking up right where he left off with really high stamina and very good mood. Actually, I'm going to flip this. There's another bonus for stamina. So we've flipped this to stamina. We're a couple days away from getting a maximum, which decreases that by 30. Yeah. So heading into the test, we have passed each of the objective requirements, including the bonuses. Now it's just a matter of clearing the inspection and 75% surviving. But before we head into it, a reminder that there's an additional enemy. There's 9 tougher enemies than before, so we are going to face a tougher challenge. Yes, we've improved, but how will we be compared to tougher units? Well, overall, the plan is going to be ultimately the same, but with higher quality, 22.5, 19, 18.7, 17.8, additional modifiers that should make them more effective. The only difference that I have implemented into the plan is that when we get to the final section, I want to try out our new crossfire plan and see how that does. We've just finished research to give it an 8% boost to make it more effective. But what I saw with the tactics prior was they weren't terribly helpful for us. All right, here we go. Just 1 scratch through that first sector. That's good. And he's still very much got that flak jacket. We did pretty good in the second sector before, but how much tougher will it be now? Is the breach effective? Oh, we're still down to those guys. Plus the stuff. There's the grenade. Really only 1 guy, but he's got a flak jacket on him. So there's one of your increased ones. It took a while to bring him down. David, still looking pretty good. Nicholas has a scratch. Good so far. Another flat jacket. Oh, this is a shield this time. Flank him with wand, but they get for a long time. Luckily, everybody unloading on him did the job. Some additional strength there as we bring down the first guy and the second guy. David took a direct hit that time, but he's still looking pretty good. Okay, David loses the flak jacket that time, but we head into the final zone with David and Henry and Nicholas all looking pretty strong. Okay, crossfire tactic. Focusing on 2 guys at a time, basically first 1 and 3 for their job, and we're looking pretty good, but there's still this guy with the shield. Harder to bring down. Everybody targeting him now, and we are good. And we continue with our last proper practice run, being successful. This time, Henry and Juan doing a lot more damage than before. But once again, David has actually taken less damage than the last time around. Again, absorbing. So, yeah, we're looking good. We're looking pretty good heading into the actual operation. Additional experience helping them level up. Clear the inspection. We get the bonuses. Trust is up to a 95 all of a sudden. And as we enter week 3, the final week of the demo, 5 enemies added and 9 of them have become more powerful. It's going to be a lot tougher for the final one. I think adding an M8 870 is going to be more useful for us. Means Nicholas is going to upgrade.
Yeah.
Everybody just got a +5 to mood also. It's just a little bit tougher heading into today. Operation start, let's do it. We're gonna get 2,000 for the funding. Ooh, we could handle 7 operators. That's recruitment wise. The squad's still only 4. All right, here we go into the operation. Should be very similar to the final prep round that we had. Just a little more intense. We take a little scratch on that first round, but we're through it. You can see how it very much resembles kind of the setup we had in our training as we head into, it's a sawmill for this one. Down the first guys, and we've got the stun, have under heavy fire, and look how strong the team is so far. Nicholas has taken a bit of a scratch, and that's about it so far. Quickly brought down the 2 weaker guys, and we now see the other 2. And 2 members of the squad off of crossfire. Brought down 1 guy, on the other, Nicholas. A little bit of a scratch. David, bit of a hit on his flat jacket. Pretty strong. Easily. A little bit tougher. Oof. Okay, we reached the destination point, but the facility manager is missing as he escaped. No, there are no estranged personnel around. He seems to have just stepped out of his office. For now, we can't help but proceed as per the rest of the plan. Understood. I'll detonate the facility and extract. Alrighty. Okay, Henry and David. A little bit of damage. Oh, some damage in the heavy fire there from their front man. Finally down to 1 guy, and everyone focus their fire on him. We are out of flak jacket. Nicholas and Henry and David are a little bit of a scratch, but looking pretty good as we head into this final zone. There's the detonation. Final area. First guy giving us some trouble, but we'll quickly bring down the others. Crossfire. Down to a single man, and we're good. All 4 are going to make it out of here. But Did we find the bad guy? Not so sure about that, but it's a successful mission. And it's a success. Operation was completed. Job's done. Good work. Alright, folks, that's also going to be the end of this demo and the end of this first look video. If you like what you saw here, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content here on the channel. And I have a feeling that I will be bringing this one to the channel when the game releases later on. For now, there is no release date in sight, but from the look of this demo, I would imagine that the game itself is built. It's all about flavor at this point. They are probably working on missions, so as you proceed through the game. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.